So good news. I put out a new white paper for arching to refresh the old one, and it's as a part of again this overall arching theme that to recognize that there are many ways to invest and many ways to engage with arching. It is called a prospectus, but it speaks to lots of different ways to engage with arching, not just with money. So that's out. It's already been translated into Chinese, thanks to Lori Luo, and apparently it's creating a lot of buzz in the Chinese community. So if folks are interested, it's out and available. So take a look, see what you think. I'm sure there are lots of things that could be improved. Yeah, that's out. In terms of updates on Casper, we talked on Friday about a way to reduce conflict. There was a small change that was made in hopes to reduce conflict. It looks like there's still some conflicts present that are preventing block merging. So I need to take a look at exactly which conflicts are happening, and also to see. I need to get more info from the team as to which conflicts are happening now, and hopefully with a little more subtle analysis, we can get more mergeability. I think those are all the updates I've got. Anything from anyone else?
Can I ask you something a little different?
Yeah, sure.
I'm interested in implementation in FPGA, and I was talking to guys from Clash. This is implementation of compiling Haskell to FPGA, or very low.
Yeah. My son and I used Clash in 2018.
Oh, nice. So I was not sure what is the real benefit of FPGA. I definitely it's parallelism, but I couldn't explain. I said to them, we have tuple space, and a lot of execution really means to get data from tuple space. And they said, oh, FPGA is not great for getting the data from the memory or so. So can you tell what is the real benefit?
The benefit is quick realization in hardware. So if you have a chip design, you don't have to go all the way to manufacturing and fabrication. You can just go to FPGA as a first step to trying things out. It's not that FPGA is an end in itself. It's that it's a prototyping environment for hardware, basically.
I see.
Now there is another advantage, which is which I hadn't anticipated when I first went down this path some years ago. But it turns out that the size of the chip relative to the surface area of the FPGA is small. So you can end up tiling the surface of the FPGA with a bunch of these chips. So that gives rise to interesting hardware opportunities that I hadn't anticipated until we actually, rendered the chip for FPGA. Yeah.
I see. So, okay, this is more like for first implementation and to create a prototype and right.
Yeah, yeah. I would never use
Okay,
it in production. I wouldn't use
I see.
FPGAs in production. No, and I don't think of them
Mm,
that way. I think of them as yeah. You know, you just want to you want to make sure that your design is workable. That you can actually render it to hardware and then test it.
mm. And what kind of hardware would be useful? A lot of memory with.
Yes, you want a ton of memory, basically. Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
I see. Okay, okay, thanks.
Sure. No, no. Those are great questions. Um, yeah. Let's see. Trying to think if there's anything else. I mean, the white paper was over a month's worth of concerted effort, so that's been taking up a lot of my cycles beyond the the other stuff. I will probably return to Casper, specifically at the beginning of the new year, but I haven't done any Casper research over the last couple of weeks. Um, let's see. Is there anything else from anyone?
If I can also ask about the nominal phenomena that you explained.
Sure.
So I was reading about higher ordered abstract syntax
Mm-hmm.
and also the Boolean indexes
Mm-hmm.
and also reflection, as you said.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure when I'm thinking about the Boolean indexes. Is it that this is like natural numbers can be used as the Boolean indexes, and so I'm not sure.
The Bruin indices are really uh, they're they're typically like in a lambda term they're a pair, right? It's how far down and how far over. Um, if so yes, you can use natural numbers, but it's not a single natural number. The indices are about your position in an environment and how many levels deep and how many environments deep. And you can do a kind of generalization of that in the higher order abstract syntax.
Yeah,
So
I
I mean,
was reading.
go ahead. After you.
I was reading that it's easier to express higher order abstract syntax and work with, but implementation is it's easier to done with the Boolean indexes. And what I was meant by natural numbers for the Boolean indexes. My question is, can we use any monoidal structure for this kind of things? Because we're just numbering this nesting. So is this
Yeah,
similar how?
sure. You could use any. Yeah, you don't need a lot of. You don't need anything other than monoidal structure, but you need pairs. Right? It's the pairs of monoidal elements.
Mm.
Yeah. It's not single, right? It's I actually did an implement in the implementation of the hardware thing. I did a De Bruijn style thing for row. But for row, you need 3 parameters. I don't remember what the third one is off the top of my head. I just remember that in order to make it work cleanly, it was easier to use 3, three parameters to locate your names.
Oh, this is the GitHub repository where you have your Haskell code.
Yeah, that's right.
This is written for Clash, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay, okay, cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, I don't know why you'd want to be more general than the natural numbers if you're implementing the Bruin indices, because ultimately that gets rendered to hardware. the easiest monoid to render to the hardware is the natural numbers.
I see.
Yeah, but I'm not sure. But maybe there's some other reasons to it. I don't know.
I see. Thanks for answering.
No, thanks for the questions. Anything else from anyone? All right. Well, maybe over the holidays I will spend some time and take a look at the Feynman diagrams and the Kovanov homology, and get the Nacht's processes work extended to those areas. If anyone's interested in some really fun technical discussion in physics, Nima Arkani Hamed has produced a lovely series of lectures on his work on the calculation of scattering amplitude. He gave a course at Harvard Physics that's on YouTube. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, you might look at it. I think it's called Space-Time Quantum Mechanics Motifs and something else. Anyway, just Nima and Arkani Hamed and Space-Time and Quantum Mechanics would all together to get you the lecture series. He's really brilliant, very clear lectures. I'm on lecture 9 right now, and they're just great. They're really, really good. I would hardly recommend it. So if you want to understand the role of anti-de Sitter space, or how people think about pardon me, the holographic constructions. And there's a bunch of different phenomena that he sort of sorts out in a nice, clean, clear way. Lecture 8, I think, for example, gives a very good exegesis of twistors. Sort of very practical, like what are we going to use twistors to calculate for? Why do they make our lives easier? That kind of thing. So if you are interested, I would hardly recommend that. For me, the connection is that as soon as he starts making these calculations a lot more combinatorial, then the more I can reduce them to process algebraic calculations. So I'm always interested in the bit from bit program, and Nima's work brings the two fields a lot closer. If for the holidays you want some fun stuff, that's a really good lecture series. With that, we might. I guess this is not necessarily the last Casper Standup for 2019, but happy holidays to everyone, and looking forward to talking to you next week.
Thank you, Greg. Happy holidays.
Thanks, Greg.
Thanks.
Yeah, happy holidays to everyone. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Greg.
Thank you.